Richard Reeser here, Commonwealth Disabled People's Forum General Secretary and a resident of the UK, whose government are supporting the Disability Inclusion Action Plan for addendum to the communique in CHOGM. It's very important that we do take action now in the Commonwealth on this issue and not leave it to future CHOGMs. We have a position where 55 of 56 countries have ratified but are not implementing in the main as they should be doing. It's now 18 years since this treaty was made, and we need to really move forward in taking action. We need to share the resources of the Commonwealth. We need to share disability equality training, which is teaching people about the paradigm shift at the center of this, to seeing the problem in the society rather than the problem in the person. And we need disability training for that, and we need access auditing, which can be provided. We need to make sure that all plans of government are run through the lens of disability equality, not just for disability, but for transport, for building, housing, health, whatever. They all need to look at it. And we need to mobilize private and public sector to produce the best and cheapest assistive devices to enable the 430 million disabled residents of the Commonwealth to gain disability equality.
I'm here to emphasize on the need for disability inclusion by Commonwealth state countries, and my main emphasis can be on accessibility, which affects disabled people. With communication, we need accessible communications. When it comes to the environment, we need accessible environments, accessible buildings, and accessible transportation, so that we can be able to exist and to flourish in the community on the same level, on an equal level with other people without disabilities. So it is very important that as Commonwealth Disabled People Forum, as we continue to champion and lobby for the Disability Inclusion Protocol by Commonwealth countries in the upcoming Commonwealth Heads of Governments meeting, CHOGM, that will be held in Samoa in October later this year, that governments see the need to actually implement the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which is a treaty that all of them have signed to. And this Disability Action Plan is a document that is going to help them to fast track the implementation of the articles of the Constitution. So I wish that all heads of governments are going to take this up, and in the run-up even to the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals achievement, that will be able to fast track the achievement of the CRPD and make sure that disability inclusion is in earnest being realized in all the Commonwealth countries. Thank you.
In the guidance of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, India is planning to become a $1 trillion economy in few years. This is possible only when a huge population of persons with disability is also educated, employed, and contributes to the tax base of the country. Hence, good planning and a lot of budgetary requirement is needed. Budget requirement comes with proper census, counting of the number of people, and the availability of disaggregated data. I wish all countries in the Commonwealth and India collect correct disaggregated data on the disabled, so that right budgetary application can happen, right planning can be done, and this population is not left behind in the development of the nation.
Persons with disability are already experiencing the very worst effects of climate change and emergencies. We know that that will continue to get worse in the future, but we can be an important part of any response toolkit. We have capacity, we have capability, we just needed to be invited to the table and be included in the decisions that will impact us. That's why this matters.
It is important that governments of the Commonwealth increase and employ more persons with disabilities within government, so that because the numbers are so small, the numbers are so dismal, and therefore it's important and imperative that persons with disabilities that are increasingly being employed in government because they have skills, because they have expertise, and they can do it.
It's imperative that heads of government of Commonwealth countries sign the CDPF, Disability Inclusion Action Plan. One of the points in that action plan is the collection of data using the Washington Group of Questions that will inform advocacy and the provision of services to the community of persons with disabilities. Collection of accurate data on the community of persons with disabilities will help to inform the provision of services by government, will help to strategize advocacy plan by the disability community, and also it will ensure that all the different categories of persons with disabilities are counted within a specific geographic area.
In designing the Disability Inclusion Action Plan, the Commonwealth Disabled Peoples Forum is calling on governments to recognize the importance that assistive technology plays in the lives of persons with disabilities. It enhances inclusive education, employment opportunities, independent living, and access to information, all areas covered within the CRPD. We recognize that oftentimes assistive technology, devices, and software is priced outside of the reach of most individuals with disabilities. Our action plan speaks to the importance of government supporting lower costs for assistive tech, and this can be done in a variety of ways. In passing this program through the Commonwealth Disabled Peoples Forum is confident that institutions within the 56 countries of the Commonwealth will take another step forward in bridging that digital divide that continues to put barriers in our way, in the way of persons creating disability where there need be none. Therefore, we support wholeheartedly the advancement of technology and its transformative effect on the lives of citizens with disabilities in the Commonwealth and beyond.
A crucial aspect of this plan is increasing the number and seniority of people with disabilities employed in government and the Commonwealth Secretariat. Implementing this action point will help combat discrimination, address high unemployment among disabled youth, and foster disabled role models.
I want to talk about data as regards the disability community, disaggregated data. Yes, it's very important that we begin to look at disaggregated data and factor in the data as relates to women with disability, with girls with disability, with children with disability, and then across all clusters, blind people, deaf people, and all of that. This will give us a kind of opportunity for us to have better planning and then targeting the different clusters we want to work in. For example, if I want to work with women, which data am I going to work with when it comes to women? So that is why it's very important that we begin to look at disaggregated data in our various Commonwealth countries and as a community in general.
The reason this is important is it will make sure for full inclusion of disabled people through improved access to information and public infrastructure.
Our government has to take immediate actions to increase accessibility in public transport, access to public places, education, vocational training, and employment. At the same time, governments can promote accessible tourism in our countries. Commonwealth Secretariat can call for the progress review with all governments and make recommendations to accelerate the implementation of Disability Rights Bill. Thank you.
Full inclusion for disabled people in the countries that they live in is really important, and access plays a huge part in that. For disabled people to be able to access public buildings is really important, and it's a basic right. So we would call on authorities to ensure that they carry out access audits, as that will enable buildings to be made more accessible and for new buildings to be planned in a way that they are accessible so that disabled people can have access to the places that other people are able to access easily. Disability equality training is also very important, as this enables disabled people themselves to enlighten other people who don't have disabilities about the issues that they face. When these sessions are held by disabled people themselves, they are able to tell their stories about what they have experienced, which means that the non-disabled people who are attending have a much better idea of what it's like to be a disabled person. We are therefore calling for the Commonwealth Heads of Government to adopt the Commonwealth Disability Inclusion Action Plan so that disabled people are able to live in the Commonwealth in a more inclusive way.
An important aspect of the action plan is its commitment to ensuring that underrepresented groups of people with disabilities, including women, receive the recognition and support they deserve. This plan focuses on creating inclusive policies that address the unique challenges faced by these groups, from access to healthcare and education to employment opportunities and social participation. By prioritizing intersectionality and equity, the plan seeks to empower women with disabilities and all underrepresented individuals, giving them a stronger voice in the decisions that affect their lives. The actionable steps outlined will pave the way for meaningful change, creating environments where everyone, regardless of their abilities, can thrive and contribute fully to society. This plan is not just a document, it's a crucial step towards a more inclusive and just future for all.
My name is Daniel Trum from Namibia, from the Division of Disability Affairs, responsible for disability issues in Namibia. On behalf of people with disabilities, the National Disability Council of Namibia, an organization of persons with disability, including the Federation of People with Disabilities in Namibia, we have agreed to support the Commonwealth Inclusion Action Plan to be adopted or to be endorsed by the head of state so that we can have an action plan in place. Thank you.
We recognize the important role that civil society plays in our communities and countries as partners in promoting and supporting Commonwealth values and principles. Since Malta's Inclusion Ministry was formed in 2020, I have made sure, as the minister responsible, that disabled people are placed front and center when it comes to decisions affecting their future. We have listened to the message relayed by the Commonwealth Disabled People's Forum through our activists. Malta is proud to support the forum's proposal to adopt a first-ever Disability Inclusion Action Plan at the next CHOGM. We are committed to the respect and protection of rights without discrimination on any grounds as the foundations of peaceful, just, and stable societies. I encourage our partners in this family of nations to join us in listening to our disabled citizens and make sure that this commitment in our shared Commonwealth Charter is finally extended to them as well. Endorsing the Disability Inclusion Action Plan will mean taking yet another concrete step towards transforming our Commonwealth and building one resilient common future.